was supposed to be just another quiet evening at home, a rare chance for my girlfriend, Emma, and me to spend some quality time together. Our schedules had been so hectic lately that we barely had a moment to ourselves. But tonight was different. We had the house to ourselves, no interruptions, no obligations, just us. We ordered takeout from our favorite Chinese place, and while waiting for it to arrive, we decided to watch a horror movie. Emma loved them, even though they always freaked her out. She'd curl up next to me, burying her face in my shoulder whenever the suspense became too much. As the movie played, the familiar creaks and groans of the old house blended into the background. I was used to them by now. The place had its quirks. But tonight, they seemed louder, more distinct. I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end, but I dismissed it. It was just the movie getting to me, or so I thought. The doorbell rang, breaking the tension. The food had finally arrived. I got up, leaving Emma curled up on the couch, still clutching a pillow from the jump scare moments earlier. I smiled at her, trying to shake off the unease that had settled in my gut. "Be right back," I said. When I opened the door, there was no one there. Just the cold night air and the streetlights casting eerie shadows across the yard. The takeout bag sat on the doorstep, looking as ordinary as ever. I picked it up, glancing around to see if I could spot the delivery guy. But the street was empty. No cars, no people, just silence. I closed the door and locked it, telling myself I was being paranoid. It's not unusual for delivery guys to drop off food and leave quickly, right? I shook it off, returned to the living room, and set the food on the coffee table. "Hey, food's here," I called out, but Emma didn't respond. She was still on the couch, her back to me. She hadn't moved an inch since I'd left. I walked over and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Emma?" She was cold, too cold. I slowly walked around the couch to face her, and that's when I saw it. Her eyes were wide open, staring blankly ahead. Her throat, her throat, was slit open, deep and precise. Blood had soaked into the couch, spreading like a dark, viscous pool. I stumbled back, knocking over the coffee table, sending the takeout flying across the floor. My heart pounded in my chest, a deafening roar in my ears. I wanted to scream, to cry out for help, but I couldn't make a sound. How could this have happened? I was gone for only a minute, 2 at most. Who could have done this? The front door had been locked, there was no sign of a break-in. And I didn't hear anything, no struggle, no scream. That's when I felt it, a presence. I wasn't alone. Slowly, I turned around, and there, standing in the shadowed corner of the room, was a figure. Tall, impossibly thin, its features obscured by darkness. But its eyes, those eyes, were glowing a sickly yellow, locked onto mine with an intensity that paralyzed me. It took a step forward, and I could finally see its face, or what was left of it. The skin was stretched taut over its skull, as if it had been peeled off and hastily reattached. Its mouth was a jagged line, grinning with teeth too sharp, too long. It tilted its head, observing me like a predator sizing up its prey. I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe. The thing raised a hand, and I saw the glint of a blade, still wet with Emma's blood. It moved with a slow, deliberate grace, as if savoring the moment. And then, with a voice that was both a whisper and a growl, it spoke. "You're next." Before I could react, the lights went out, plunging the room into darkness. I stumbled back, tripping over the fallen table, desperately trying to find my way to the door. But in the pitch black, I was disoriented, lost. I could hear it moving, its footsteps unnaturally slow, as if it knew I had nowhere to go. I reached the door and fumbled with the lock, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the key. Finally, it clicked open, and I burst out into the night, running as fast as I could, not daring to look back. I didn't stop until I reached the end of the block, gasping for breath, my mind racing. I called the police, stammering out what had happened, but when they arrived, the house was empty. No trace of Emma's body, no blood, nothing. Just the cold, empty house, exactly as it had been. They didn't believe me. They thought I was in shock, that I'd imagined it all. But I know what I saw. And now, every night, I lock the doors and check the windows, but I can still feel it watching, waiting for the right moment. Because it's still out there. And it's coming for me next.